at 5.
Lawmakers plan to make affordable child care more accessible.
Plus,
as soon as it's FDA approved, we can start to prescribe it to patients rather than them having to come into an emergency room.
the U.S. could soon see approval of the first at-home coronavirus treatment. And later,
a celebration rang out on Duluth City Hall steps today, this afternoon. Find out why tonight.
You're watching Live at 5 on Live Local CBS3.
good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Kristen Bakke. For many parents in northern Minnesota, finding affordable childcare is a struggle. It's expensive, staffing wages are low, and open spots are limited. But as CBS3's Kendall Jarbo explains, relief for childcare providers and families could be on the way.
Senator Tina Smith met with child care providers in northern Minnesota to hear about their struggles. She also heard from employers who said it's difficult for their employees to find care center providers, which makes hiring complicated.
Both daycare centers and employers shared their concerns with Smith about the lack of affordable childcare in the region and workers to staff them. Smith is proposing a provision be included in President Joe Biden's Build Back Better plan. It would ensure no family would pay more than 7% of their income for childcare. The U.S. government would partner with the states to subsidize childcare costs for families so daycare providers could raise their prices and employee wages.
Making childcare more affordable is a #1 goal of mine and also President Biden's, and we're determined to get this included in this bill.
Participants in the roundtable discussion say communities that have access to affordable childcare will thrive.
If passed by Congress, Senator Smith's budget plan aims to reduce barriers for families so they can have more access to affordable health care.
Thanks, Kendall. Coming up at 6, we hear from someone who has worked as a daycare provider for decades, who shares why reform is needed. The Duluth City Council will hear a proposed ordinance tonight aimed at meeting the need for affordable housing. Duluth Mayor Emily Larson is proposing the creation of a housing trust fund. It would invest at least $6 million into affordable housing. The funding could be used to increase housing stock, invest in neighborhood improvements, and promote density wherever possible. The council will hear the ordinance tonight and is expected to vote on October 25th. If the plan is approved, the city expects the program to begin in early 2022. Well, today is Indigenous Peoples Day, dedicated to honoring and remembering Native people and culture. The city held a ceremony on the steps of City Hall. Drum group Sugar Bush performed along with traditional dances and songs to honor Indigenous culture. Local leaders spoke about what Duluth is doing to educate, represent, and create visibility in the community. Mayor Emily Larson says she wants Duluth to acknowledge its Native history in a way it hasn't before.
We've heard the word visibility many, many times, and that is what we are striving to do in a good way as a city, is to tell a more honest, visible story. We are an incredible community that has been inhabited for centuries, and we have been incredibly tight-lipped about telling that whole story.
Indigenous leaders talked about the importance of keeping their history and culture alive. Red dresses were also on display in remembrance of missing and murdered Indigenous women. And in Wisconsin, Governor Tony Evers marked the day with a formal apology to tribal members. He apologized for the state's role in the Native American boarding school system. He also signed an executive order formally supporting the Department of Interior's investigation into the schools. Native children were taken from their families and placed in schools in an effort to eradicate their culture. Many died or were abused. Evers says the history has been too long in the dark, and the investigation is an important part of a more just and equitable Wisconsin. In the last 14 days, COVID cases are down 20% nationally, but here in Minnesota, cases are up more than 30%. Health leaders say the increase is due to the rise of COVID-19 cases in young children. The state is now reporting 3,000 cases per week in children under 12, and in just one day last week, 514 COVID cases were reported in K-12 schools. 441 were among students. However, kids who are eligible for the vaccine have among the lowest vaccination rates of all Minnesotans. Just 54% of 12 to 15-year-olds have gotten at least one dose of a vaccine. For 16 and 17-year-olds, that figure is 59%. That's compared to the 73% of adults 18 and over. Doctors are pleading with parents to get their children vaccinated. Additionally, the former FDA commissioner believes children 5 to 11 could be fully vaccinated by Thanksgiving. Meanwhile, nationwide, we could be just weeks away from having the first FDA-approved coronavirus treatment that patients can receive right at home. Skylar Henry has more details from Capitol Hill.
Merck has asked the FDA for an emergency use authorization for the first pill to treat COVID after clinical trials showed it helped save lives.
Dramatically, by 50%, reduce hospitalization and death. So an oral pill that works against COVID-19 hospitalization.
Current treatments such as Regeneron require patients to receive infusions. The Merck drug could be given at home, relieving the crush of COVID cases in hospitals.
As soon as it's FDA approved, we can start to prescribe it to patients rather than them having to come into an emergency room and be given intravenous therapy of an antibody or a shot of an antibody. They can get a pill.
Health officials say the new COVID treatment is exciting, but they say the best measure against COVID is still for people to get vaccinated.
We still have around 68 million people who are eligible to be vaccinated that have not yet gotten vaccinated.
Vaccine hesitancy is even greater among parents, debating whether their children should get the vaccine if the FDA approves it for kids 5 to 11. A new CBS News poll shows 35% of parents surveyed say they will not let their children get the vaccine. 26% are unsure.
I think there's a lot of information available. It certainly makes me confident about vaccinating my kids. And for those parents who still have a lot of questions, I would urge them to have a discussion with their pediatrician about the pros and cons of vaccination.
Politics is one of the key factors in whether parents will vaccinate their children, with 61% of Democrats saying yes and 56% of Republican parents saying no. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
The FDA will meet 2 weeks from tomorrow to discuss whether to approve the vaccine for children. Meanwhile, the government has already ordered enough of the Merck pills to treat 1.7 million Americans and will distribute them to the states if the FDA approves its use. Well, Dave joins us now for a quick look at the weather. Dave, kind of a rainy weekend, but you know what? I enjoyed it. I loved it. It was nice to have kind of a rainy, gloomy day. It was nice for a weekend.
Yeah, and temperatures were warm enough to support late-season thunderstorms. There were actually a couple of tornado warnings for northern Minnesota yesterday. And on top of that, some decent rains. I'll talk about rain totals in a few minutes, but right now we take a live look towards the Ely area where the sky is still gray. And at the ground, at least in that little pocket of territory, it's still pretty green, just a few hints of color. Some places have more color than others, of course, and the color will stay gray probably through Wednesday. So just like the weekend, we have chances for more rain from now until Wednesday, though I think the chance for the thunderstorms and the tornado chances passed as well because temperatures are going down back towards normal, which is the upper 50s this time of year. Several low-pressure systems are slated to be bringing us these rain chances, including tonight and Tuesday. In Minnesota, it may only be mostly cloudy, but rain could return to Wisconsin overnight. 30% chance on Tuesday gives way to a 90% chance Wednesday to finish things off. We'll talk about how much could fall in a few minutes.
Thanks, Dave. Still to come on Live at 5, a fall-themed 5K is returning to Cloquet, and early registration is only available for a few more days. We'll have the details as we head around the Northland after the break.
You're watching Live at 5 with Kristen Vaki and weather with meteorologist Dave Anderson on Live, Local, CBS 3.
Villa Marina Health and Rehabilitation Center is a beautiful one-level facility in Superior, Wisconsin, with 24-hour skilled nursing care. With a 5-star rating by Medicare, you can expect high-quality care. We offer a variety of services, including restorative care after a hospital stay, intensive rehabilitative therapy care after surgery, or long-term care for those who are no longer able to handle the necessities of daily life on their own. To learn more, call or visit Villa Marina Health Center in Superior.
I'm Jim from Jim Peralt Construction, a certified TAMCO contractor. What does that mean for you? Tamco's full line of roofing and decking products allow me to offer the best options to homeowners. The average contractor can only offer 10 years. At Pro Construction, we provide a full coverage 15-year labor and material warranty on residential and commercial buildings. Nobody can offer a better warranty than this. Give us a call today to find out what Jim Pro Construction and Tamco can do for you.
Make the most of every property with landscaping equipment that delivers more. More productivity. More comfort. More durability. And more of what it takes to get the job done right. When your reputation is on the line, you need the Kubota landscaping lineup. Visit your local dealer today.
No one serves you better than Lulich Implement.
We've got new information now explaining why.
Why should ordinary Americans care what's happening here in Ukraine?
Deep divisions remain.
Elizabeth, why did they kick you out?
They are expecting public unrest.
Why are they releasing these videos now?
Police are pushing us back.
We found one hell of a story of survival.
That's why you have to do your own research to get to the truth.
If you love them enough to crawl into a play place to get them to come down, then surely you'll check NHTSA.gov/the right seat to make sure they're in the right car seat.
Welcome back to the CBS3 News Live at 5. Here's a live look from Spirit Mountain as those fall colors have passed peak and may not be hanging on the trees too much longer. Dave will be in with this week's forecast in just a few minutes, but first, let's take a look around the region. A popular fall attraction returns to the Minnesota Discovery Center, and a local business is moving off the hill in Ely. All of that and more as we take you around the Northland city by city. We start in Cloquet tonight, where there is just a few days left to pre-register for an upcoming fall run. The 16th annual Pumpkin Run and Walk will be held at the Fond du Lac Tribal and Community College Saturday the 23rd. Early registration must be made by this Friday the 15th for early bird pricing. The Pumpkin Run is a 5K race, and all ages are welcome to participate. Costumes are also encouraged. For more information, we'll have a link on our website. Next, we head to Chisholm, Minnesota, where this Saturday, the Minnesota Discovery Center will be in the fall spirit. The Pumpkin Trolley will be running this weekend, taking visitors through the fall foliage on a historic hayride to the Glen Location Pumpkin Patch. Each ride includes one pumpkin that can then be decorated at the Discovery Center Pavilion. Free hot chocolate and cider will also be available. Tickets are limited, and we will have the link to reserve your seat on our website. And we wrap up in Ely tonight, where a historic shop building is seeing its last day today. According to a post made on their Facebook page last month, today is the last day Ely's Zoop's grocery store will be located on top of the hill. The new store will open on October 27th at the former Shopco building. Employees will be working at a local market in the meantime as construction on the new place wraps up. The shop on top of the hill will close tonight at 7 o'clock. And if there's something going on in your neighborhood that you think we should know about, send us an email and it might be featured as we go around the Northland city by city. Still to come on Live at 5, the Minnesota DNR issued an emergency action today to stop the spread of chronic wasting disease on deer farms. More on their order in just a few minutes.
Thanks to some decent rain over the week, and now for the month of October, we're running a rain surplus, almost a quarter of an inch more than normal. And we've got more rain chances coming around through midweek. I'll talk about how much more could come down by then, coming up after the break.
If you love them enough to crawl into a play place to get them to come down, then surely you'll check NHTSA.gov/the right seat to make sure they're in the right car seat.
Mom, I'm here. Mom, where are you? Help. Mom?
Without emergency protection, you risk your life. But with Life Alert, one press of a button can get you help fast.
For a free Life Alert brochure, call 1-800-458-9565. That's 1-800-458-9565. Call now, 1-800-458-9565. For a free brochure, call 1-800-458-9565.
The Royal Enfield Bullet was designed in 1955 and not updated until 2008. It takes an experienced hand to keep one running. I've ridden in the rain and the snow, but prefer not to. That's why motorcycles and meteorology go together so well. It also takes an experienced hand to make an accurate riding forecast. As our region's longest-serving meteorologist, I think I have the touch needed to get it right.
Watch Dave Anderson weeknights at 5, 6, and 10.
School visits are an important part of kind of being part of the community outside of the TV station here. When I was in 6th grade, that's when I learned meteorology was it for me. Being on the other side of that now, for me being able to kind of pursue that, it's important for me to then be able to get back into the community. If I can go into a classroom and get just one person who was interested, or just one person who, you know, leaves there knowing like, wow, I learned something new today. For me, I did my job, and that means a lot to me.
Watch meteorologist Caitlin Moffitt weekdays at 5 a.m. Get your news on the go, the CBS3 mobile app.
Today marks Indigenous Peoples Day. Stay tuned to see how Duluth celebrates it in a special way.
Affordable childcare is hard to come by. One U.S. senator's proposed solution.
Tonight at 6 on CBS3.
If you love them enough to crawl into a play place to get them to come down, then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the right seat to make sure they're in the right car seat.
Now, the CBS3 Duluth WeatherMax forecast with meteorologist Dave Anderson.
Rain chances began on Friday and have stuck around, frankly, till now, and will continue to linger in our area through midweek. And so we've received some pretty decent rain totals. And this is just a look at what's come since midnight. So Minnesotans got most of it for this round. Kabetogama, 69/100ths of an inch. Grand Marais, 58/100ths. A little bit up the Gunflint. Some parts up there in Cook County have reported more than an inch. Deer River, 1/2 of an inch. And Bovie, close to a quarter. We'll push it just a little bit, give them a promotion. On the other hand, Wisconsin didn't do so much today. 200ths for places like Superior, Ashland, and Poplar. And into Michigan, a little bit on the dry side there as well. Iron Mountain, just a trace. But we have more chances coming tonight through Wednesday. And by the time that time period wraps up, I'm thinking we could run about 1/3 to 2/3 inch. I'll show you a chart here in just a bit. Current conditions at the airport. The here and now says it's 59 degrees, relative humidity 78%, westerly northwesterly wind 9 miles per hour, 29.73 inches of mercury. Our barometric pressure on the lower side, even down here at the surface. Past couple of lows, have been sufficiently low aloft for clouds, but high pressure at the surface now. Barometers are reading low no matter where you go. Wherever you go right now, you see temperatures in the 60s in the Upper Peninsula, 60 to 64. Wisconsin's numbers are running about 59 in places like Ashland to 63 down the road towards LaPointe and Red Cliff and Bayfield. Hayward's in between, and so is Superior. Minnesota numbers are in the mid-50s up near the border for places like Ely and Orr, and probably Crane Lake and Bike too. Evelyn, Virginia, Quad Cities 55 as well. It's as warm as 63 towards Big Fork and 61 around Moose Lake. Temperature-wise for the week ahead, it's not going to be as warm as last week. We're finally dialing back towards more normal temperatures, which this time of year, upper 50s. Doppler map right now shows clouds in place from a slew of low-pressure systems here. Not much rain happening at the moment. A little touch in northern Wisconsin, a little bit north of the border here as well. But again, with all these lows lined up to influence our weather in a rainy way, we're going to see rain chances Tuesday and Wednesday as well, from a low to the north, one down towards the south, and another one coming towards us from the Rocky Mountains. And for the mountains, it's packing a little bit of snow. But if this gets to us by Wednesday to help keep the rain going, yeah, on the front side here we'll be getting rain, and the snow should be left behind in the mountains where it's a little higher and a little cooler. But our time will be coming, but not this week. Here's the week ahead. Tonight, Minnesota. Well, first let's look at this rain forecast. I almost forgot about that. Like I mentioned, about 1/3 of an inch to 2/3 possible by Wednesday night. Now here's the forecast for Minnesota overnight. Low temps, 40s and 50s, mostly cloudy sky. Wisconsin, Michigan, you got a 30% chance for the rain returning to you. Low temps, low 50s. Tomorrow's rain chance for Wisconsin and Michigan, 40%, highs in the low 60s. Minnesota numbers 58 to 62 with a 30% rain chance, which turns into a 90% chance on Wednesday. Some sources say 100%. But I like that little bit of wiggle room so I can have a fallback if I get it wrong, Kristen. Then it stays cloudy on Thursday, but it dries up and then becomes sunny through next week. Temperatures drop into the 50s, but again, that's where we're supposed to be in mid-October.
Yeah, mid-October already. And if you haven't seen the fall colors yet, you better get out and go take a look. Because up north, at least in my yard, the maples, the leaves have fallen.
Yeah, and towards Grand Rapids, it's getting pretty bare. Up towards Ely, still clinging, though. And northern Wisconsin, east central Minnesota, still doing all right for viewing. So get out and explore our region.
It's beautiful, that's for sure. Well, and Dave, we actually have to give you a congratulations on your award this weekend from the U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary. Congrats.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, we want to tell you guys a little bit about it. The U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary's North Star Division spent the weekend in Grand Rapids wrapping up the 2021 boating season with seminars and an awards ceremony. And our own Dave Anderson earned this year's James Munger Award for Excellence in Performance of Duty. Dr. Jim Munger was the Northland's premier boating safety expert from 1975 to his passing last year. The U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary is the boating safety wing of the Coast Guard Forces. Dave has been a member of the North Star Division, which covers northern Minnesota and Wisconsin for 22 years. Big congrats to you, Dave. The DNR today took new action to stop the spread of a deadly brain disease in deer. The agency banned the movement of farmed deer into and within the state of Minnesota. It's an emergency temporary rule to help wildlife officials figure out the movements of known CWD-exposed deer and to track potential exposures. This comes after a CWD-positive farm in Wisconsin sent 387 farmed whitetails to operations in 7 states, including Minnesota. CWD, or chronic wasting disease, is a fatal illness already impacting some wild deer in Minnesota. Community volunteers were on a mission to add some green to a Duluth nature center. Community Action Duluth teamed up with Affinity Credit Union as a part of their Plus It Forward campaign. They planted trees at Hartley Nature Center. They were working to replace invasive plants and species with native trees. The team planted a couple dozen red oak, hackberry, yellow birch, and pine trees. Organizers say everyone benefits when volunteers step up to help. It's that time of the show where we get to talk about adoptable pets, and today's pet comes to us from Northwoods Humane Society in Hayward. This is Goofy. He is an 8-year-old large breed mix who, despite his name, is really quite calm. Our friends at the shelter tell us he picks his friends carefully, but is easily persuaded by the treats. He is good with kids of all ages and loves his toys too. He would like to be the only dog in the house, though. If you would like to set up an appointment to adopt Goofy, then you can call the number on your screen. Still to come, a major U.S. marathon made its return today after 2.5 years. We'll break down the big winners and this year's big changes after the break.
You up for a ride?
Saddle up.
I got you right where I want you.
Where do you want me?
You let me do the worrying, okay?
I got something here you might want to see. Good team effort.
Practically family.
Come on, bring it in. No, we're not hugging.
NCIS moves to Mondays, followed by NCIS Hawaii. New tonight at 9/8 Central on CBS.
The Duluth Area Chamber of Commerce is excited to announce the 151st Annual Meeting and Dinner Celebration, Thursday, October 28th at the Deck. This hybrid event will offer 2 viewing options for your choosing, in person with proof of vaccination or negative test, or live streamed with a curbside dinner pickup. Featuring Dr. David Herman, CEO of Essentia Health, as the keynote, we trust this will be a celebration of resilience and momentum. Register at DuluthChamber.com. Brought to you by these premier sponsors.
Mining. It's a part of Minnesota's history that affects everyone in the Northlands still to this day. From environmental issues to economics and so much more. Join me, Kristen Bakke, every Tuesday for Eye on Mining, a fair and unbiased report that answers the tough questions surrounding the world of mining.
Eye on Mining with Kristen Bakke. Tuesdays at 10 only on live local CBS3. Brought to you by Range Regional Airport.
A couple questions.
Do you think it's time for schools to reopen?
There is some positive breaking news.
We've got a lot of important new information for you and your family.
Calling all Bulldogs. Do you consider yourself a diehard UMD Bulldog fan? Send a picture of you or you and your crew all decked out in your Bulldog attire for a chance to be the My9 Sports Bulldog Fan of the Week. Follow the My9 Sports Facebook page and post your pictures there to be entered into our weekly random drawings. Each Fan of the Week will be showcased in our My9 Sports UMD Athletics Broadcast of the Week. The My9 Sports Bulldog Fan of the Week is brought to you by the Duluth Tap Exchange.
I remember my son was going to grow up without a father.
I didn't think someone at 23 could be diagnosed with breast cancer.
I was probably the healthiest I had been in my life.
Early detection of a melanoma saved my life.
I survived testicular cancer because of early detection.
I survived cancer not once but twice because of early detection.
During the pandemic, you may have delayed or canceled routine cancer screenings. It's time to get those appointments back on the books. Early detection saves lives.
This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
In news, there are no second chances. You have one shot to get it right. You need to get all the facts, angles, and points of view. And you need it now. For us, being first is good, but being right is best. Live local CBS3.
Get your news on the go. The CBS3 mobile app.
About 18,000 athletes have crossed the finish line at the Boston Marathon. The 26.2-mile race was held today for the first time since the spring of 2019. Nancy Chen reports from the finish line.
Benson Kipruto of Kenya.
Benson Kipruto was the first runner to cross the Boston Marathon finish line at 2 hours, 9 minutes, and 51 seconds. Diana Kipchoge, a fellow Kenyan, was the fastest female runner. For more than 20 miles, C.J. Alpertson from Fresno, California led the pack, but he fell back on Boston's Heartbreak Hill.
I'm just not great up any sort of incline, and I was tired.
The 125th Boston Marathon was scheduled for April 2020, but the pandemic forced it to be postponed and then canceled for the first time since 1897. The pandemic postponed this year's race 6 months and meant fewer runners and rolling start times to promote social distancing. Athletes had to show proof of vaccination or a negative COVID-19 test, and masks were required on the buses that brought them to the starting line.
I was really happy that everyone was wearing their mask. I think everyone's just happy to be able to do Boston, not have to get it pushed back another 6 months.
And though there were fewer spectators, elite runner Desiree Linden from San Diego says they helped her through what she called a sufferfest.
After 13, I wanted to step off 1,000 times, but there was just too much energy on the course, and they got me through every single mile.
Marcel Hug of Switzerland won the men's wheelchair race, despite making a wrong turn in the final mile. Manuela Schar, also from Switzerland, won the women's wheelchair race. Nancy Chen, CBS News, Boston.
The wrong turn likely caused wheelchair racer Hug from beating his own course record and a $50,000 record bonus. An estimated 30,000 athletes completed this year's race virtually. We'll be right back after the break.
CBS3 closed captioning is brought to you by Essentia Health. 1 in 8 women will be diagnosed with breast cancer. Regular mammograms can help find it early. Schedule yours today.
Cracks in brick, cracks in block. Call DBS. Leaning or bowing basement walls. Call DBS. Sticking windows or doors. Call DBS. Settling or sinking foundation. That's right. Call DBS. It's a fact. Foundation problems don't get better with time, but they do get better when you call DBS. Call DBS today.
Whatever your water worry, Culligan Water can help. From value-priced softeners to the world's best and even salt-free. No one has more solutions than Culligan to customize the best filtration for your home. The only water that comes with a van. Contact Culligan, the local water experts.
Coming up Tuesday on CBS3 this morning, a recap of how the Northland celebrated Indigenous Peoples Day. And checking our next round of showers and true fall-like temperatures on the way. So wake up with us starting at 5 a.m.
Mom, I'm here. Mom, where are you? Help. Mom?
Without emergency protection, you risk your life. But with Life Alert, one press of a button can get you help fast.
For a free Life Alert brochure, call 1-800-458-9565. That's 1-800-458-9565. Call now, 1-800-458-9565. For a free brochure, call 1-800-458-9565.
Mining. It's a part of Minnesota's history that affects everyone in the Northlands still to this day. Join me, Kristen Vaki, every Tuesday for Eye on Mining.
Brought to you by Range Regional Airport. Watch Eye on Mining with Kristen Vaki every Tuesday at 10. Only on live, local CBS3.
The Icebreaker Tournament, October 15th and 16th, only on My 9 Sports. Presented by Kohler Chevrolet Buick GMC Cadillac.
Welcome back to the CBS3 News Live at 5. Here's a live look from Canal Park on this Monday evening. Let's take a look back at today's top story and see what's coming up at 6. Tonight at 5, we heard from U.S. Senator Tina Smith on her proposed provision to improve the cost of child care in Minnesota. She hopes to include the proposal in President Biden's Build Back Better plan. The provision would cap child care costs at no more than 7% of their income. And tonight at 6, we hear from a pediatric specialist on what she recommends for children as COVID cases continue to rise among that age group. Plus, what else could be a contributing factor in just how sick kids are getting. That's your news at 5. The CBS Evening News is next. We'll see you at 6.